So a lot of interesting news has been happening around the cloud gaming world, from XCloud to Geforce Now to even Amazon and all of its blunders there. And with the recent announcement of XCloud taking its big shot at cloud gaming and making big headlines, it's finally time to kick off a weekly video of cloud gaming news. Heck, even PlayStation Now has new games coming to the service on a monthly basis, believe it or not. So let's start this video with the biggest news we've heard about since the major cloud gaming services in the Stadia and Geforce Now launches this past year, and that is that XCloud is coming and finally announcing to the world what its plans are for the service, and boy oh boy, it's pretty interesting to say the least. On top of Xbox already bringing consumer-friendly practices like 4 generations of Xbox games playable on the new Xbox Series X, as well as your current library from the current generation working on the next gen, as well as buying games right now and getting a free copy for the new Xbox, they are really putting in a place of establishing a deal that is hard to pass up. But then the announcement of the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate will now combine Xbox Live Access and Xbox Game Pass, which includes 100 games you can download and play. But the cherry on top of all of this is that XCloud will now also be part of this entire $14.99 package. And what is also included in this $14.99 package? All the first-party games from the Xbox studios, like Halo Infinite, for example. They'll be playable on XCloud as well. So let's actually recap this. You're paying $14.99 to access 100 games, almost like a real Netflix for games. You're getting brand new titles from first-party studios, and you can completely untether yourself playing cloud games through your phone or tablet, or then maybe you can download some of these games on your PC with the Play Anywhere feature. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this sounds really good, and from a consumer standpoint, Xbox is absolutely killing it. Let's face a few facts here, folks. Regardless of what I think about XCloud and how it runs, this is a consumer-friendly move. It's positive news, and it's how you really grab the narrative by the horns about something that so many people are unsure about in cloud gaming. Now, there is a million questions that I have about XCloud. Will they be removing games as time goes on? Will you be able to purchase games specifically for XCloud, or are you stuck with that library no matter what? Will they bring in PC cloud streaming? Will they make XCloud accessible in its own subscription model? It sounds like we're going to be getting some of these answers in the coming weeks and months ahead, but there is the elephant in the room with XCloud. On the surface, there is an amazing deal here, and honestly, there's no way to knock this, and it's absolutely worth looking at if you're a cloud gamer enthusiast. But the elephant in the room is that XCloud just doesn't run great. This has been a consensus all around the board. Now, understand that XCloud has been in beta for quite some time, which is why I'm extremely hesitant to really give it my review until it launches later this year. Beta means it won't necessarily run great and that it's in a testing phase. But what worries me more than anything else, and listen to me carefully because I feel this is very important, what worries me is that if XCloud comes out of the gate not working and being as bad as it is now, I feel a lot of people's misconceptions about cloud gaming will not only continue to remain, but to be reinforced. Now, this is me talking as a cloud enthusiast myself. It's a legit concern. Now, Phil Spencer said they would upgrade the current hardware, which is currently running on Xbox One S's, but that it wouldn't happen until 2021, in which then it will re-upgrade it to the Xbox One X. So it's not exactly a huge leap, and it will still be out of date just as quick as it is being upgraded. I would have easily felt more confident if they were to upgrade to the actual new gen hardware, and I'm sure down the line that is gonna happen. But XCloud is set to hit quite a bit of turbulence if they don't somehow find a way to really run games well. If people currently have issues running Geforce Now or Stadia, they will have no chance running XCloud at a good rate. With that said, I think they know that XCloud is a bit rough around the edges. I think that is why it's easy for them to pair it with this bargain pass, tack it on as an added extra benefit, so people's expectations can't be too hard if they can't get it to run well. So while this will be one of the best deals, if not the absolute best in cloud gaming, it will be for naught if we can't get XCloud to even run to begin with. Time will tell, but XCloud, at least for the near future, will not be Xbox's sole focus, and so until it starts to be taken truly serious, which I think it will happen down the line, it might not make as much noise in the cloud gaming space that people think. But I'd love to be wrong on that one, because competition will only improve all the other cloud gaming services. I guess we'll see. Alright, let's move on to some other cloud gaming news, and the next biggest one that I want to put some focus on, as it's been a while since I've talked about it, and that is Geforce Now. The last time I covered it on this channel, they were having games left and right leave the service. It was, in my opinion, becoming a PR disaster. They could have at least 20 games or more join the service any given week, but the headlines were always dominated about the ones leaving. So back at the end of May of this year, they essentially forced publishers and developers to opt in their titles for access into Geforce Now. By doing this, all the ones that were going to leave or wanted to leave would do it all at once in one fell swoop, and then going forward, Geforce Now could then re-grab the narrative on a weekly basis and just announce games that were coming to the service. I think it was one of the smartest PR moves that I've seen in the cloud gaming space lately, and one that was absolutely needed. And when you go through the list of games since the announcement, they have mostly been nothing but additions to the service, with the exception of last week, where Saints Row the Third, Soul Calibur, Tekken 7 left the service, as well as Dark Souls franchise. It was a bit baffling to see Geforce Now lose some more games, despite that opt-in policy. But every week the service has been adding more and more titles, like the recently released Death Stranding on PC. Hyperscape was also a day one for them. Cyberpunk 2077 is also coming on day one with RTX support. They've also added a new game filter with NVIDIA Freestyle that lets you add post-processing filters on your games. Like, for example, when you recolor or retouch a photo with a color filter, you can now do that with your games. I've actually seen a few examples of people using this and making their game visuals look a bit sharper, so it's an interesting feature and one that I'm curious to mess with myself. Overall, looking over the patch notes of several months, Geforce Now has continued to polish the service, and it has been quite a while since I've dived fully into it, and I plan to do so more going forward, with starting with Death Stranding. So I'll have my impressions here going forward, but I have to say, at the moment, I do have a positive outlook of the future of Geforce Now, as they look like they've really been improving the service, and I've been liking the direction they've been going, especially with some of the recent moves, and having games like Cyberpunk 2077 be there on day one, unlike a certain other cloud platform. We'll see if they continue to keep the polish going, as that has been my biggest issue in the past, a clunky UI and a bit unsure of what games or what is happening, but it looks like they are finally working on those features and working on grabbing that narrative. And finally, let's move on to the last news here, as PlayStation Now added 3 games in July, with Watch Dogs 2, Street Fighter 5, and Hello Neighbor, while Spider-Man unfortunately left the service. I'm looking forward to reviewing PlayStation Now here in the coming weeks. I will be also mentioning them on a monthly basis in terms of which games are coming and leaving, but that's about it for PlayStation Now. Going forward on this channel, I will be looking at all the cloud gaming news on a weekly basis and giving you guys that information. I'm looking forward to testing out and trying more cloud services in the coming months and years. There is honestly a lot to be hopeful for, and I'm excited with so much competition really starting to ramp up, and I for one welcome all of it. Subscribe to this channel for cloud gaming news, Stadia coverage, as well as just because I'm a really cool guy. I'm Sunny, and I'll see you guys in the cloud.